My mom is an alcoholic. On top of that, she has cervical cancer and has been told that she has 4 to 6 years to live. I believe if the cancer doesn't kill my mom, that alcohol will. My mom will drink a whole 12-pack of hard seltzer and then a bottle of liquor.
This is what happens when I drink. I woke up this morning at like 9 and I've already had 6 of those.
I would come home from school and she would be drunk, either blacked out or passed out. My mom will binge drink for like 2 weeks and then she'll say that alcohol disgusts her.
I don't want to drink anymore. I'm tired.
And then the next day she'll be completely drunk and blacked out. She'll drink until her money's gone. I believe my mom drinks and drives. She doesn't think that she's putting her life in danger and other people's lives in danger. When my mom drinks, she calls me a bitch and she'll tell me that I'm very ungrateful. She denies it, says I'm sorry, and just hopes that I get over it. Recently, my mom was drinking very heavily and we got into an argument. Things escalated very quickly, so I ended up leaving. She sent my boyfriend a really long, hurtful message about me. Pretty much just explaining like how much she hates me and how much she doesn't want me to be in her life. She said she was sorry the next morning, but was like, oh, I was blacked out. I was drinking. Last year, she had told me cancer was really bad again. The biggest frustrating part is my mom does know that the cancer could kill her and that she does choose to drink. I've been wanting my mom to get sober for almost 10 years now. I wouldn't be here if I wasn't doing this for her.
Now, you said this has been going on for 10 years. So what was the parenting situation like for you when you were a teenager? Who was seeing after you? Who was nurturing you, watching out for you, taking care of your daily needs?
Honestly, I relied on myself a lot. I did bounce around and then it did cause me to be homeless right before I turned 18.
You were living in the park for a while.
Yeah, I was living in an abandoned trailer a year before that for like 3 weeks, and then 2018 I lived at a park.
Where was she when you were living in an abandoned trailer and living in a park? Where was she living?
I'm pretty sure she was living with her ex-boyfriend.
You said when you would tell her about your living conditions that she accused you of lying.
Yeah.
She didn't believe it. What did she think you were lying about?
When I told her that I had lived at the park, she didn't believe me. She would call me like a liar and say that it's not the truth.
Yeah. You said you've tried to confront her about your feelings of abandonment, and that when you do, she feels attacked or denies what happened and says, and I quote, "I'm an alcoholic, there's nothing I can do about it."
Mm-hmm. So anytime there's like a problem or I need a parent's support and I go to my mom for those types of things, she kind of just like, if it's too big of a situation and she doesn't know how to deal with it, she'll just pretty much blame it on the fact that she's an alcoholic and say that she doesn't know how to deal with it because she's never had a mom, and that's pretty much it.
Wow. So at times she's in denial about what her problems are. Other times she hides behind them
Exactly.
to escape accountability for you.
Mm-hmm.
She had cancer before, and you took care of her, you helped her. When it came back, what was her attitude about getting treatment?
She told me that she pretty much would never wish chemotherapy upon her worst enemy. And she basically told me that she wasn't going to do chemo, even though she knows she has cancer.
She put a burden on you. She said, if things get really bad and I'm not cognizant, she said, I want you to pull the plug.
Mm-hmm.
That's a heavy load to put on a young daughter.
That's a big responsibility. Like, that's pretty much me choosing to end my mom's life. And that's not something I would ever want.
And what do you want her to do?
I just want her to get better and like just do chemo again, or at least try to fight
for her life.
For her life and for
this
her
is
kids.
Killing you, obviously.
When I get very drunk, my best friend and her 3 daughters call me Drunk Jen because I act completely different.
She likes to make everybody laugh and acts like a goofball.
One of the neighbors gave us a beautiful wedding dress, and I did this really stupid dance in it.
I don't think it's funny. It's not a joke at all.
When I see videos of myself drunk, I feel nothing but guilt. I'm ashamed, I'm embarrassed. I don't want to be like that. When I take that first sip of alcohol, it feels amazing.
I have to stop and take a drink. Even just that one drink makes me feel so good. It instantly hits me.
On a typical day, if I was drinking just the hard seltzers, I could easily drink 24 of them. If I'm drinking hard liquor, I can drink probably 2 pints.
Yesterday, I passed out after I drank 4 days in a row.
The other night, I drove around at about 1:30 a.m. to 3 different liquor stores. I drank a huge bottle of sake, which probably equaled out to maybe 20 shots, and I was driving.
I personally don't like being around my mom when she's drunk because it makes me mad.
The only time me and Alexa have arguments or fight is because of my drinking.
When my mom and I get into an argument, she likes to text horrible things about me to other people. Alexa is the most toxic, lying, backstabbing person I've ever met. I don't give a if she talks to me or not.
I've told her to never contact me again and that she's dead to me.
I just become this like demonic monster. I'm not even like a mom or even a human being. I just get crazy and I lose it.
I do not drink in front of her, and I will hide any alcohol I have. I have this shoebox, and it'll fit like 4 hard seltzered waters in my bathroom.
Back behind all the shampoo and stuff. I also hide them in between my clothes in each dresser drawer.
I've made so many promises to her about getting sober and never drinking again, and basically lying to her.
If I ask my mom to stop drinking, she'll be completely honest with me and tell me no.
Because of my addiction, I cannot hold down a job. I've lost friends, I've lost family. If things don't change, I will die. I will drink myself to death.
Well, you may notice that despite the fact that we just met Jen on tape and we talked about dealing with some of her issues, she's not sitting here right now. And there's a reason for that. I needed to bring in some reinforcements, and when I say reinforcements, I'm talking about a man who knows his stuff when it comes to what we're dealing with here with Jen. I want to introduce my good friend, Coach Mike Baer. Now, Mike is a life coach. He's also the founder and CEO of Cast Centers. He's also a New York Times best-selling author, not once, but twice. And he has a new book out now, and it is a must-read, in my opinion. And it's called One Decision. And it is a powerful book that shows you how making just one change in your life can bring about remarkable results in so many areas of your life. So, Mike, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Dr. Phil.
Now, Mike, you spent time with Jen already. What do you think Jen's biggest obstacle is?
Spending my limited time with her, it was very clear that her obstacle was the ability to get honest. Because if you can't get honest, nothing changes. If someone doesn't take the time to reflect on themselves, to analyze their life, to realize what's not working, their behavior just doesn't change. And so Jen is just in this cycle of behavior just not changing.
Yeah. Now, Alexa, you have a sister. What's your biggest fear for her?
Just that my mom's gonna do something really stupid and my sister's gonna never talk to her again. And it's gonna be hard for both of them and for me.
And let's remember with all this, people do get sober.
Yeah.
People do change, but not sure if Jen's ready. I'm Coach Mike,
Hi, Coach Mike.
and Dr. Phil has asked us to get together. And it sounds like some of the decisions you've made may end up with you being homeless in about 2 months, right?
Yes.
What I want to do is an exercise with you, which I call playing the tape through.
Okay.
Let's say you haven't stopped drinking in 2 months.
I will die, or I will end up homeless, and I have been homeless.
Can you show me how you would sleep in this car?
The front seats have to be pulled up, and then I'll push these back as much as I possibly can. I would sit like this. Literally, this is about as much space as I would have to sleep. And I have a back injury as well, which makes it even worse.
Well, I have another exercise in terms of playing the tape through.
Okay.
You know, I'm sober almost 19 years.
Yes.
And I still play the tape through. At some point, you will be pulled over.
Yep.
And you will be asked by a police officer to walk a line.
Right.
So I'm gonna have you do it once.
Okay.
Without these glasses, which these glasses, they simulate you having several drinks.
And do you want me to do like the whole toe-to-toe thing?
Yeah. Can you go any quicker?
I can try, but then I'm gonna look drunk.
All right. So now I'm gonna have you put these on and do the same movement you were just doing. Just walk across. All right, you can take them off.
Okay.
Kind of ended up way over here, right?
Right.
People don't believe it when they're under the influence, like you said. I'm a good driver even when I'm drunk.
Yeah, which is horrible.
Now, we're gonna talk about playing out the tape if you decide to get sober. You've had attempts in the past. Why do you think they haven't worked?
I wasn't actually trying to get sober. I was just trying to do what everybody else wanted me to do.
What's the biggest excuse that stands in the way of you getting sober?
Honestly, I wasn't ready to stop having a good time.
You know what's interesting? The first thing that came out of your mouth was honestly. The reality is you know your life will get better if you get sober.
Exactly.
And the number one step is making a decision to be honest. Are you able to work?
At the moment, no. I'm on medical leave.
No. I'm talking about, do you have the ability?
Absolutely.
We've walked around.
Absolutely.
You just walked a line with goggles on.
Absolutely. I do have the ability.
Okay.
Yes.
You've taken the narrative that your back pain
Right.
is so extreme that there's no way you could work. The reality is you're not having a job today, in my belief, honestly,
Yes.
because of your drinking.
You're absolutely right. And I do need to stop lying to everybody, and I need to stop lying to myself.
Where are you feeling?
It's a lot of guilt for the bad choices that I've made that have led me to where I'm at now.
You drink because you don't want to think about it.
Yes, I drink because I don't want to feel it.
Really what it comes down to is first getting honest, then being open, and then being willing.
Yes.
So we're gonna sit down with Dr. Phil, see what decisions you need to make,
Right.
and what do you need to decide to do differently in order to get it this time.
Well, Jen, I'm glad you're here.
Thank you for having me.
You seem to have some candor with him that you haven't had before for a long time at least.
Yes.
And he has that effect on people. Well, Mike, Jen says when she takes the first sip of alcohol, it takes away from the very beginning all of her hurt and pain, and that once she does that, she's going to drink everything she can get her hands on. And you've seen that, right? Mm-hmm. What does she do with that?
Well, that is someone who's an alcoholic has the inability to control after they intake that first amount. The question is, why would someone take that first drink knowing that the consequences would be so bad?
And you have another daughter besides this.
Yes.
And you say you have driven drunk, blackout drunk, with that child in the car.
Yes, I did.
What the hell are you thinking?
I wasn't. I don't have any excuse for it. I should not have been driving her, period.
Yeah,
I should
no,
have called her father no matter what would have happened and had him come
you
and get
don't.
her.
No matter how bad it made you look, it would not be as bad as you driving her blackout drunk and putting her life in danger.
I agree. There's something that I need to talk to Alexa, my daughter, about, but I don't know exactly how to bring it up. It's a lie and it's a big secret. The reason that I lied was because I was already drinking heavily. She was already getting fed up with me because I kept telling her I wasn't gonna stop and I never stopped. The lie caused her to show me love and sympathy and not be mad at me for being a drunk. It is time to tell Alexa the truth. If I'm truly gonna get the help that I'm trying to get right now, I need to put everything out on the table and she needs to know.
So Jen, what is it that you're lying to her about? There's no better time than right now. She's sitting right in front of you. look her in the eye and take this opportunity to tell her what you need to tell her.
Alexa, I've been lying to you about being diagnosed with cancer again. I do not have cancer again.
You told me that I have to pull the plug and like all that, and it's like, and it's a lie? Like, you're disgusting.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
There's people dying,
I know.
and I thought you were.
I
But
know.
just because you wanted to cover up Jen again,
I just wanted you
you
to love
hurting
me.
your daughter again.
I just wanted you to love me, Alexa. That was it. I just wanted you to love me, even though I'm an alcoholic and I cannot control that behavior.
How come I'm a 20-year-old girl and can control my behavior, but you can't, a mom of 2?
Because you're not an alcoholic, sweetheart. You're not an addict. You don't have those type of issues.
I
know,
chose not to be an addict.
but you don't understand. I didn't choose to be an alcoholic.
Those are excuses.
You know,
you
that's
could
why-
have chose this whole time to either tell me the truth or to figure things out or to get help or to stop drinking, but you did not choose any of those. You chose to lie and manipulate to get what Jennifer wants.
Yes, I did.
I'm tired of that.
I know. And I
I've
am
had
too.
to suffer because of you.
I know, and that's why I'm here, is because I want the help. I don't want to lie to you anymore. I don't want to hurt anybody else that I care about anymore.
You're disgusting. I don't want to look at you.
Do you know the difference between right and wrong?
Yes, Dr. Phil,
And
I
you
do.
knew the difference between right and wrong when you allowed her to go to bed at night thinking, my mother has terminal cancer, has refused chemotherapy, so she's over there letting this disease eat away at her from the inside out. You were selfish enough to let her suffer when, in fact, we have the documentation here that on your last examination, they said you are cancer-free.
Yes, that is true.
She is cancer-free.
Which I'm glad to hear that, but it's just the principle of everything and like everything that you constantly lie about, and you don't get that your lies have affected my life in such a negative way.
And I'm sorry, baby. I'm so
You
sorry.
say I'm sorry,
I really
but I'm
am
sorry isn't enough. I've been there for you 100%.
I know.
And you lied to me the most, and you hurt me the most, and I just don't understand. I help you all the time. I'm there for you all the time. I
know.
ruin my relationships with people because of you.
I know, baby. It's just my alcoholism takes over everything. And I'm so sorry.
But okay, so if your alcohol takes over everything, what about the lies? What was the point of lying? Who
Talk
did
to
it
me.
benefit, you?
It didn't even benefit me. It didn't really benefit anybody.
Then why did you lie?
We asked her what were her excuses for lying about cancer. Number one, sympathy, wanted people to care. Totally manipulative. 2, said while drunk. So, no accountability. Devil made me do it. Next, I don't want to say it was for attention, but maybe it was. Of course it was. And then because in the very next statement she says, I just felt like I didn't know how to get my family's attention. It was totally for attention.
Yeah.
I think the thing that makes me the most mad, though, is just the fact that you constantly would blame you being so sick on everything, and that you couldn't help me and you couldn't be there for me because you're so sick. And then it's like, I have health issues too, but you're not there for me.
I will not let you sit here and say that, because there's many times that I have taken you wherever you want to go, the doctor, the hospital, to go do whatever
A
you want to do.
long time ago,
And when
over
I
a
do
year
tell you
ago.
no,
Over a year
that is
ago.
not true.
It is true.
Okay, then I
Before all
guess we're going to
COVID
have to agree to
started.
disagree. That's not true. And there's many people that
How?
will back that up.
How?
Because, Alexa, when people don't do it.
Hold a second. Do not allow her to lecture you, and do not defend yourself right now. You do not have to defend yourself right now.
This is my
And
life.
she doesn't have the right to be lecturing you when we're talking about the fact that you have made the most sinister manipulation of your child that I can imagine. You have allowed her to go to bed at night thinking my mother is over there dying. She's drinking herself to sleep instead of fighting for her life. She obviously doesn't love me enough to fight to stay here with me. There must be something wrong with me, and I'm going to have to make the decision to pull the plug out of the wall when it's time for her to die. You didn't only lie about cancer, you further burdened her with the decision of taking your life when it came to the critical moment. It's like you've got to stick in the dagger and then you've got to twist it so she hurts even more. Do not allow her to lecture you.
I was at an all-time low, and yes, I did lie about having cancer again, Alexa, but it's because I didn't want to be alive. I wished I would have had cancer. I wished I wouldn't be here suffering the way I do. And you're right, Dr. Phil is right.
Jen, this isn't pour me another drink,
I know,
right?
right.
Like the reality is, above your head right now, the description is
I'm a
liar.
liar.
You
Yeah,
are,
yes.
and you have been.
Her life
Okay.
is literally a false narrative. It's everything she tells me is a lie. So now even the biggest thing that I thought that wasn't a lie, that was the biggest lie. You lied.
Well, there's a big question here, and that is, what is the one decision? If this life is going to turn around, if something is going to happen, what is the one decision that Mike is calling on her to make?
Growing up, my mom was literally my backbone. She was there for me all the time.
And now it's the complete opposite.
I tried to be the best mom that I could.
I would come home from school and she would be drunk, either blacked out or passed out. Even though I don't have a driver's license, one time I had to pick up my mom because she was drunk.
That's when everybody noticed that I had changed for the worse. I don't like being like this. I just can't stop anymore.
What's the one decision she has to make?
The starting point, one decision that you have to make, Jen, is to be honest. You know, the other one decision she obviously needs to make is to get sober. But honesty goes hand in hand with sobriety. And I think that you've been down this journey before. You've told other people when you tried to get sober, I'm getting sober, I'm doing the best I can, but you lied, you said. And so, you know, the question really is, are you willing to be honest, and what does that look like for you?
Yeah, I don't have any, I have to be honest from here on out, because if I'm not honest now, I'm gonna end up either taking my own life, killing somebody else, or doing something horrible because I cannot control my drinking.
At the end of the day, it's gonna be up to you, Jen, if you wanna change.
Well, you said when you were talking to her in the tape, and you guys were sitting at the picnic table in the park, where you allowed your daughter to live, by the way, in a park, you said there are 3 steps you've got to do here. You got to be honest, you got to be open, and you got to be willing. You have a journey to make. And, you know, Mike, you describe it very well in your book when you talk about going from victim to victor. The victim mentality is blaming others for your emotions. The victor mentality is owning your ability to control those emotions. The victim mentality is thinking that life is against you versus the victim mentality of knowing the universe has your back. You're not powerless. You've got to find the tools you need to cope. And that's what I want to talk about, are the tools. And I can tell from watching you here, if you stop drinking right now, just said, okay, I'm gonna gut up and stop drinking, you would have serious withdrawals. I think you need medically supervised detox. Mike, you work with this population all the time. Do you agree?
Absolutely, we need to get into it right away, today.
So we have arranged for you to go to a medically supervised detoxification center. It's Revive Treatment Center, and they would like to offer you 30 days with medical supervised detoxification and rehabilitation program to get you started. And I can tell you in advance, that's not going to be enough.
Right.
But that will get you started. It will get your system flushed. And additionally, Coach Mike has offered to have a coach work with you from Cass Centers to make sure you have the best team moving forward. So we're rallying the troops for you. Have you had a better offer lately?
Never, not lately or ever.
What do you think?
I mean, I just want her to get better, and obviously, until she's better, I mean, it has to start with being honest and being honest with yourself. And if you're not honest with yourself, you can't be honest with anybody else.
I know, Boo, you're right.
Is this something you want to do?
Absolutely, 100%.
Because let me tell you how this works. This is between you and them. I can tell you about them, and I can arrange for this to not cost you money, but it's between you and them. When you leave here, you sit down and meet with them,
Okay.
and I'm out.
Okay.
The decision is yours. Whatever you work out with them is between you and them. And Coach Mike has generously agreed to have Cass Centers involved. What you do with her, that's between you and them. HIPAA's involved. I don't need to know. I don't want a report. Don't get a report. That's between you guys.
She basically told me that she wasn't going to do chemo, even though she knows she has cancer.
You allowed her to go to bed at night thinking my mother has terminal cancer when in fact you are cancer-free.
You're disgusting.
New Dr. Phil. Check your local listings.